Last week in sports, college football championship weekend has passed, and it has shaken up the playoff picture, bringing tears to players and even more fans. Yes, more crying fans, including myself. Then in the NFL, we saw yet another mid-season head coach firing for a team with absolutely no hope, as well as a player getting called out for comparing his team to the recent Five Nights at Freddy's movie.
Luckily,
All that and more on this episode of Last Week in Sports. Welcome into Last Week in Sports. My name is Matthew Freeman. Be sure to subscribe for more updates in the world of sports, and also
because
that's all you need to know right there.
last Monday, literally as I was uploading the last video, the Carolina Panthers had announced they were parting ways with their head coach Frank Reich after just going 1-10 in his first season with the Panthers. Reich is now the first head coach to be fired mid-season in back-to-back seasons after being fired in Week 9 with the Indianapolis Colts last year. He is now the second head coach to be fired mid-season twice, along with Josh McDaniels, which I talked about in my first video, which you can watch right here. During the Panthers' road loss to the Titans the previous week, owner David Tepper could be seen on the field yelling his frustrations with the team. Reich's tenure as the Panthers head coach is the second shortest in the NFL since 1970. Special teams coach Chris Tabor has been appointed interim head coach for the time being, while offensive coordinator Thomas Brown will assume play calling duties. It's not exactly the world's best kept secret that Reich wanted to draft CJ Stroud instead of Bryce Young at the quarterback spot, with Stroud arguably having an MVP caliber rookie season with the Houston Texans. Even with all the turmoil at the QB position during his time in Indy, however, he still managed to make every QB he coached look half decent, even Carson Wentz. But what did Luck, Brissett, Rivers, Wentz, and Ryan all have in common? Well, they were tall. Not just, tall. I'm talking standing over the lineman tall, with all of them measuring at least 6'4".
now you big as hell in person.
Me?
Hell yeah.
With Bryce Young being only 5'10". So let me ask you guys, do you think Frank Reich was the sole problem in Carolina? Or was Bryce Young the problem? Or are the Panthers just hopeless? Let me know what you think in those comments down below. Then moving on to college football, as championship weekend has come to a close, the final four playoff teams have been announced, and it may shock some fans around the country. Obviously, Michigan and Washington were going to be ranked 1 and 2 respectively after remaining undefeated and winning both of their conference championship games, with the Wolverines crushing the Iowa Hawkeyes in the Big Ten title game. While Heisman favorite Michael Penix Jr. and Washington's game versus Oregon on Friday night came down to the wire, to the point it made some fans believe Oregon deserved a shot in the playoffs still. That was until the chaos that was Saturday college football, as the first game being the Big 12 Championship, the Dr. Pepper Big 12 Championship sponsored by WWE game, where the 11-1 Texas Longhorns ended a 13-year conference title drought, the longest in the program's history, with a 49-21 win over Oklahoma State behind the right arm of Quinn Ewers, who was awarded the new WWE Big 12 title belt from The Undertaker himself. The sophomore quarterback completed his first 12 passes en route to setting the Big 12 championship game record for most yards with 452, which is also the third most in a game all time in Texas, and tying the mark for touchdown passes with 4. In the first half, he threw for the most yards by any player in a half in a conference championship game in the past 20 years, throwing for 346 of his 452 yards in just one half. This would be enough to place the Longhorns at number 3 in the CFP rankings, finishing with a 12-1 record, then later jumping to the SEC championship game with the undefeated and favorites to win the national title again, Georgia Bulldogs, doing the unthinkable. After almost 3 straight seasons, they finally lost. No longer are the Georgia Dogs the kings of the SEC, but that title once again belongs to Nick Saban and the Alabama Crimson Tide, who snapped Georgia's 29-game win streak with a 27-24 victory at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. This was Saban's 9th SEC title victory and has now extended the team's winning streak to 11 games since Week 2's home loss to the now Big 12 champions Texas Longhorns. Saban didn't go overboard during his post-game news conference, but he left little doubt of his belief that his team is one of the best in college football.
We won the SEC. You know, we beat the #1 team in the country, which everybody thought on the committee was the #1 team in the country. And they won 29 straight games. So if we needed to do something to pass the eye test, I guess that probably contributed to it significantly.
It seems like it was an eternity since Jalen Milroe was benched in Week 3 against South Florida, but since that game, he has accounted for 28 touchdowns against just 5 turnovers. He passed for 192 yards and 2 touchdowns against Georgia, and it was his play in the fourth quarter that proved to be the difference. Milroe was masterful during a 75-yard drive that put Bama ahead 27-17, and his 30-yard run on first down after Georgia pulled within 27-24 was a dagger for the Bulldogs. After the game, Milroe couldn't help himself but feel the emotion in his first championship win.
Forget that question. I want to know about your emotion right now. What is this emotion, Jalen?
When the world gave up on me, I didn't give up on myself. And that's the biggest thing. My family uplifted me, my support system uplifted me. I never gave up to what my goal was.
This is where the controversy starts with the CFP rankings, because this game would be enough to push the undefeated Florida State out of the playoff picture and place Alabama in the 4th and final spot. And then, as I said earlier, later in the night in the ACC championship game, playing behind 3rd-string quarterback Barack Glenn, the Florida State Seminoles remain undefeated after beating the 10th-ranked Louisville Cardinals with a score of 16-6 for what the Seminoles believed was enough to land them a spot in the college football playoffs.
And this team just continues to find ways, right, to make it happen. And you sit back and you look, since the BCS was created, I mean, in the history of it, there's never been a undefeated, right, Power 5 team that was been denied an opportunity to play for a national championship over a one-loss team.
Without veteran starter Jordan Travis with a leg injury, and even without backup Tate Rodmaker due to a concussion, rookie Glenn got the start, who looked like a high school recruit who got the playbook 8 weeks ago, going 8 for 21 for just 55 yards, the second fewest in a conference championship win over the past 20 seasons. And yet Florida State overcame injuries and the defense stepped up massively, finishing with a season-high 7 sacks, 14 tackles for loss, and 9 pass breakups, en route for shutting down one of the best rushing offenses in the ACC, to win their first ACC title since 2014. The fact that Florida State won this title without Travis, its team leader instrumental in the program's turnaround, is a testament to the work the entire team has put into getting the program to this moment. But instead of potentially fighting for the national title, Florida State will instead face Georgia, who also arguably should still be in these playoffs in the Orange Bowl.
Florida State is a different team than they were through the first 11 weeks. Coach Norvell, their players, their fans, an incredible season. But as you look at who they are as a team right now, without Jordan Travis, without the offensive dynamic that he brings to it, they are a different team.
Head coach Mike Norvell would release a statement that he is disgusted and infuriated by the committee's decision to exclude them from the playoff, along with quarterback Jordan Travis, who tweeted saying he wished he could have broken his leg sooner, so everyone could see the FSU team is more than just a QB. So I ask you people watching this video, do you agree with Boo or Bo and the rest of the CFP committee? Let me know what you think in those comments down below. Now jumping back to some quick-fire NFL news, as veteran wide receiver and second best cheat code in Madden history behind Michael Vick, DeSean Jackson announced his retirement last week. On Friday, Jackson signed a 1-game contract with the Philadelphia Eagles and was an honorary captain for the Eagles' devastating loss to the 49ers at Lincoln Financial Field on Sunday. Jackson played 8 of his 15 NFL seasons with the Eagles, earning all 3 of his Pro Bowl nods with Philadelphia. He was a game breaker as a receiver and a returner, leading the league in yards per reception 4 times through his career. I'll end this story with his most famous play, a 65-yard punt return against the Giants as time expired to overcome a 31-10 fourth quarter comeback. Then speaking of Philadelphia, the Eagles might want to develop a different way of converting those 4th and 1s, because the hammer might be brought down on the tush push. According to a recent report from The Atlantic, NFL Commissioner Rodger Goodell wants the play to be permanently banned from the league. The legality of the tush push, or the brotherly shove if you don't want Jesus questioning you, has been debated for well over a year, as the Eagles have found great success running the play, converting for first downs over 80% of the time they run this play. If you're playing Philadelphia and it's 1st and goal on anything in between 5 yards, you might as well just let them score to save yourself a bit of time on the clock. While Goodell reportedly wants the play removed entirely, banning the play would have to be voted on by the competition committee and passed for the owners to vote on it. Any rule change needs to be approved by at least 24 of the league's 32 owners. Then we saw Jabrill Peppers of the New England Patriots getting called out last week for something he said that was caught during the Patriots' loss to the Giants the previous week.
Lucky we had.
The comment was picked up by an NFL Films microphone worn by Giants running back Saquon Barkley. On Friday, Peppers apologized to his teammates for any distraction caused by the remarks he made after the game.
I just want to apologize to my teammates and the coaches, for even having to answer questions about that. We got more important things to worry about than, me being caught on the hot mic.
I'll end this quickfire session by saying you cannot blame Peppers for this, man. Yes, maybe he should have been more professional, but come on, guys. The Patriots are ass this year. They just lost to the Chargers 6-0 on Sunday. That's the lowest scoring game since 2018.
Lucky we had.
Now, unfortunately, we have to talk about the Von Miller situation. Buffalo Bills linebacker Von Miller turned himself in on Thursday after an arrest warrant was issued for allegedly assaulting a pregnant woman. The Glen Heights, Texas Police Department in suburban Dallas confirmed that Miller turned himself in late in the afternoon to face a charge of 3rd-degree felony assault of a pregnant woman, which is punishable by 2 to 10 years in prison and a $10,000 fine in the state of Texas. Although if the Alvin Kamara assault case taught me anything, he will be just fine and none of it will affect his football career. He was booked into the DeSanto Tri-City Jail on a $5,000 bond and released a short time after. On Wednesday around 11 a.m. Central Time, Dallas police responded to a major disturbance call, with investigations showing that Miller and the woman got into a verbal argument and that he allegedly assaulted her. Reportedly, the woman and Miller have been in a relationship for 7 years and have children together. Now, if you're a Broncos fan, you're probably aware of who this woman is. Her name is Megan Denise, and fans who kept up with Miller may remember news about their tumultuous and toxic relationship during his time in Denver. In 2021, Miller was investigated by police in Parker, Colorado, after Megan Denise shared texts to social media that alleged that Vaughn told her that he was praying for a miscarriage after she became pregnant, along with stuff about how he hated her and a lot of personal stuff that just never needed to see the light of day. At the time, Vaughn accused the situation of being
"You are fake news."
That investigation would result in nothing. And in my opinion, outside of a few games suspended maybe, I don't think much will come from this situation, because Megan Denise has already started retracting the entire situation, calling it outrageous, it's blown way out of context, and that no one actually assaulted anyone. Either the NFL or the Bills will have to address this at some point, with both only saying they acknowledge they are aware of the situation and will get to us when they have more information. I believe Miller will be placed on the commissioner's exempt list, which means he will not be allowed to play, but he will be allowed to get paid. In my opinion, whenever a relationship gets this personal involving the public, not just among celebrities, but amongst us regular folks as well, with friends and family, it's time to end it. We don't know the entire situation though, only these two do. and unless they decide to talk more about the situation, that's where the story ends. So I leave the question to you. What are your thoughts about Von Miller after hearing this story?
I understand the question, obviously, but there's no further comment right now. I get the question, guys. I completely understand you guys want to know about it, but just right now, I don't have anything.
Now jumping to another serious topic, this time in the NBA, we must discuss the Josh Giddey situation. Last week, the NBA announced they were looking into allegations regarding Oklahoma City Thunder guard Josh Giddey being in a relationship with an underage girl. The reason I didn't discuss this last week was because 1, the video was long enough already, and 2, there really wasn't much information outside of speculations. But since last week, there has been a lot more information that's kind of paints a clearer picture. On Wednesday, it was announced that police in Newport Beach, California, where the alleged underage girl is from, were conducting their own investigation into the matter. If you are unaware of the story so far, I'll let Malika Andrews of ESPN describe the situation.
Thunder guard Josh Giddey had an improper relationship with an underage girl. In a since-deleted post, an anonymous social media user claimed a girl who was seen with Giddey in videos and images, some of which include explicit captions, was a junior in high school at the time. Giddey, who's 21, he declined to comment on Friday, and despite the serious allegations, Giddey is yet to miss a game this season, and Thunder coach Mark Daigneault, he said he will continue to be in the lineup, saying, quote, "Just with the information we have at this point, that is the decision we've made. It's obviously a league matter at this point, and the ball is in their court on that." Now, a league spokesperson told me this morning that the NBA is still in the process of gathering information, and we will continue to update this story as the news develops.
By the way, Andrews got a lot of hate for some reason, calling her racist somehow for that segment. She just reported the situation, which, I mean, coming from a white man, this is honestly being nice to Giddey. Especially from Malika Andrews. Those who know, and if you don't, well...
Former Michigan State star Adrian Payne was shot and killed in Orlando, Florida, early Monday morning, the Orange County Sheriff's Office said. And Payne was the 15th pick by the Atlanta Hawks in 2014, played 4 seasons in the NBA with multiple teams. In 2018, he was waived by the Magic after he was named in a report by ESPN's Outside the Lines that he'd been involved in an alleged sexual assault at Michigan State in 2010. No charges were filed in that case.
But there has been more information that has been shown on social media that I think warrants discussion. Now, information has come out saying the alleged victim was only 16 and a junior in high school. But the first turn of the story starts here, because Josh Giddey is originally from Melbourne, Australia, where the age of consent over there is 16, and he is currently playing in the city of Oklahoma, where the age of consent is 16 yet again, although the age of consent is 18 in California. Now, personally, I don't understand the appeal of anything under drinking age once you turn 21 like Giddey is currently. But the law is the law, I suppose. There's incriminating evidence of him being involved with this woman in the form of these videos here.
What's up, man? It's Josh. Studying with your beautiful sister. Good luck for your season. You're going to Sacramento soon for a game, so all the best of luck. We're going to come up and watch you. Take care of business. What's up, my man? We're at the club. Me and my girl.
And then there's just 2 pics that are just weird to look at, with one where he is holding her from the back, with the other being a selfie with Giddey in the background with the caption, Josh Giddey. Which is just, why Giddey let this picture slide, I'll never know. Now, last week, former NBA player Andrew Bogut, who is considered to be the greatest Australian baller around, sorry Ben Simmons, gave some insight into the Josh Giddey situation.
I don't think this is that, from what I understand. If I'm wrong, I'll come back and apologize. I don't think it is that. I think the girl was younger. From what I understand is the girl in question has lied about her age and said that she was of age at the time. This has also happened, I think, over a year ago now. I don't think this is something that's happened recently, much to people thinking on social media it has.
So with the information that we now know, there's still multiple stories that can be true. One story is Giddey was aware of the girl's age and just didn't care because of the Australian and Oklahoma laws, and they were in a legitimate relationship. But the new narrative that is being painted around this story is that Giddey didn't know the girl's actual age and she was lying. Now, apparently, all that social media post that I showed you earlier, Giddey told the Thunder that those were all from last year, and that he hasn't seen her since then, leading to head coach Mark Daigneault's response to the media regarding Josh Giddey.
Not going to comment on anything as relates to Josh off the court.
Which, just want to mention, Giddey was relentlessly booed in the last game that he played in.
Different in-season tournament. The final night of group play.
Dude, can you leave the minors alone, please? She was legal our age. Please, please, I beg you. She was 17. Please, man, come on. That's legal in Oklahoma. Yeah, but California consent is at 18.
Now the Newport Beach police have come out and said they are looking into the situation and actively seeking additional information. And that part is very significant because the alleged victim in all this, the 16-year-old girl, has just stopped talking to anyone according to TMZ Sports, which is only helping the narrative that she was duping Giddey the entire time. But I end this story by saying none of the information is 100% accurate here. This is all still speculations and allegations, so something different may be entirely happening. But until we know more, that's all the information we know on this story. And Giddey is left looking like the guy who literally pulled the Romeo and Juliet card out of his wallet for wanting to be with a minor.
It's fine.
No, it's not fine.
We've got a pre-existing juvenile foundational relationship. Statute 2705-3.
What? Texas statute?
But I do want to ask you, what are your thoughts on the whole situation? Should Giddey be suspended for all these allegations now, or should we wait until more information comes out? Let me know what you think in those comments down below.
That a real law?
Yep.
Now that we have reached the end of the video, it is time for our annual tradition and award the most prestigious prize in all of sports, the last week MVP. Before I announce the winner of this gorgeous trophy right here, I want to give an honorable mention to the New York Jets and Atlanta Falcons, who broke a scoreagami with the Falcons beat the Jets with a score of 13-8. A scoreagami is a game that ends with a score that has never happened before. The score of 13-8 has only happened once before back in week 4 of the 2011 season, where the 49ers beat the Bengals with a score of 13-8. So congratulations, sort of, going out to the Jets and the Falcons. I say sort of because 1, you didn't win the trophy, and 2, the loss from the Jets probably means you're missing your chance at the playoffs. And probably more importantly to Jets fans, this means no more Aaron Rodgers, who miraculously made his way back to the Jets practice field on Thursday, just 3.5 months after tearing his Achilles. Jets fans are going to have to live with the reality that getting a decent draft pick for a lineman to protect Rodgers sounds pretty good right now. Also, thank you to the Seattle Seahawks and Dallas Cowboys for actually giving us a Thursday night game that was fun to watch for once. Shout out to DK Metcalf, or as I like to call him, DK Meatcalf, who got 3 touchdowns in that game along with 134 yards. Another shout out goes to Jimmy Uso of the WWE, who among Randy Orton's return to Friday Night SmackDown, took an RKO from the Viper and sold it throughout the commercial break, even as they were setting up the ring for the next match. Now that's dedication, and it's funny as hell, and it was worth mentioning, but he wasn't exactly on the offensive side now, was he? So no trophy for you. Instead, this distinguished trophy will go to the goalie Tristian Jarry of the Pittsburgh Penguins, who scored an empty goal net and made 39 saves in the Penguins' 4-2 comeback victory over the Tampa Bay Lightning on Thursday. Jarry stopped the dump in and sent that puck end to end into the net to collect the 17th tally by a goalie in NHL history. It was the first goal scored by a goalie in Penguins history, and just the 4th goalie in the last 10 years to achieve such a feat. And for that, Tristian Jarry, you are the last week MVP. What an accomplishment this must be. I am sure you are very excited to take this illustrious trophy home. Only distinguished athletes get to hold this trophy now. Kids train day in and day out for this trophy, so you treat this with respect, okay, Jarry? I know how you hockey players get with these trophies. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed. If you have made it this far into the video and for whatever reason are not subscribed, why don't we change that and click subscribe down below. You can also leave a like and a comment while you're at it also. I'll be there to respond to any comments you may have about any of the stories I talk about or anything at all. Until next time, this has been Last Week in Sports. My name is Matthew Freeman, and I'll see ya when I see ya.